Hi, everybody. Welcome to our broadcast. I'm Super Julie Braun. You can call me SJ. All of my friends call me SJ. And I'm the founder and CEO of Super Purposes. I'm here today with my friend Robert. Robert, please do a quick introduction.
Hi, I'm Robert Brathe. Some of my friends call me RJB, and I'm from the Career Service Station where we fix careers, and I'm a college professor in upstate New York. Great to be here with you, SJ, as always.
Awesome. And today, everybody, our topic is college students and recent grads, why you need internships, how they can change your career. We're going to be getting into that. Now, please share this with a friend, or better yet, share it with a stranger. We like to spread the word, maybe a little stranger danger here. I don't know. Invite anyone who you know who might be struggling with their career.
Yeah, it's a great time, and some of the hashtags, if you'd like to give us some social media love, hashtag get virtual internship, hashtag super interns, and hashtag college student internship. I've done a couple of these myself, and I like SJ, I have some virtual interns, so be sure to follow us, Super Purposes and superinterns.com. We have sites, and they are sister companies. You can connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and hopefully you're going to take our hilarious poll.
Take that hilarious poll. It's right down below, everybody. So click on that and tell us what you think. Yeah. So, Robert, what comes to mind for you when you think about this topic?
Yeah, why do college students and recent grads need internships? It's the differentiator. I wasn't the best student out there, and having those things on my resume really made a huge difference.
Isn't that the truth? And we actually took a survey of over 100,000 students. We found out that their number one problem is lack of experience. So you go to college and you get all this education, and then when you try to get the job, you don't get the job because you don't have the job. You don't have the experience. The experience means you don't have the job. And oh my gosh, it starts feeling like a job search vortex. Do you ever feel that way?
Oh, believe me, it's like we're floating around in space. You go from one place to another, you're just floating out there, and you wonder if people are looking at these things. It's crazy.
I feel like I'm on an episode of Star Trek. That's what comes to mind. So everyone, to get out of the job search vortex that I can't get a job because I don't have experience, I can't get experience because I don't have a job, the way to do it is to get yourself some experience with an internship. Employers want 3 to 5 years of experience. We see that all the time in all the postings that are out there. And internships actually are your friend. So what you really need to know is how to package the internship. If you can imagine, if you don't know how to package it, it can be a problem. So, Robert, what comes to mind for you when packaging an internship?
For me, it's bullet points. Whether it's I think a lot of people make the mistake, SJ, of just throwing the word internship out there, and that can turn some people off because they may not think it's legitimate. So having 5 to 7 bullet points of some accomplishments or things you learned are a great way to package it. Talk about responsibilities, duties, and not only on your resume, but your LinkedIn profile, because employers are looking in both places.
Exactly. So let's get started because I want to look at Tene. Tene is a woman who did something like 10 internships. And for whatever reason, she could not get the job. So we're going to share with everybody what Tene did, the mistake that she made. She made a couple mistakes, but as you can see, she's got intern, assistant. She called herself an intern a lot of times. So what's the number one thing, Robert, about packaging your internship? What should you not do?
I think it's don't mention the word intern or internship. How about that? And it's just that negative association. So my one of my prize interns, we had her put herself down as a executive assistant, which really she did. She was really responsible for managing my calendar, keeping me straight on focus, and really being the Spock to my Captain Kirk at my organization. And a powerful title can really make a difference. So executive assistant, business development associate, whatever work you were doing. And a lot of times you can talk to your employer and they'll help you craft the right word. So specialist and coordinator come to mind as some other terms you might want to use.
We actually don't call any of our interns. They all have fancy titles, and that's because we really respect interns. But as you know, Robert, most of the world isn't quite where we are. They might still think an intern is a coffee fetcher or someone who cleans out filing cabinets. And so the other thing that you want to do is you really want to focus on your experience versus, I did an internship. So, Robert, how much would you actually pay an intern? So if somebody came and they had a title and it said intern, how much would you pay them?
Probably minimum wage. They come in as somebody that doesn't sound like they have had a lot of experience.
Right. Okay. And how much would you pay, say, a social media specialist?
Well, that sounds like somebody that's a big deal. Probably 50, 70,000.
So everybody, ding, 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 ding. That's the big aha here, because just changing from social media intern to social media specialist, we just made you $50,000 to $70,000. That's what we just did. That is awesome. I'd love to find out what everyone's thoughts are on what we're saying right now. So what's coming to mind for everybody? What did you just learn, thinking about that? Go ahead and type it into the comments. Tell us what you're thinking. That would be awesome. And Robert, I guess we can move on while everyone is typing in their comments and thinking about that title, what they're going to call themselves. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about our virtual internships, because we've got great virtual internships here at superinterns.com and Super Purposes. We're sister companies. And you can just go to superinterns.com and click on the button, get a virtual internship, and we'll meet with you within 1 to 2 business days. Very, very fast. You can also go to chegg.com/internships. That's another place that you can find a lot of companies who need interns. And you can go there and click on the search tool and put in the keywords that you're looking for. So if you want to do an accounting internship, you can put in accounting. If you want to do law, you can put in law. So they have very diverse internships, and many of them are remote, which is awesome.
Yeah, and when you get an internship, you really get to work with true professionals. I was blessed when I was in college to work at Walt Disney, and that was very place-bound. And one of the reasons I think both SJ and I are so passionate about virtual internships is we get to mentor people from everywhere. It helps you strengthen your LinkedIn profile, and build upon that skills, knowledge, and experience that you're probably not going to get at your traditional, entry-level job. Working with diverse folks, meeting people from all over the world. I know both SJ and I have experienced working with people, different countries, different states, different languages, companies that offer equal opportunity, and the mentorship piece. It's so critical. And the mentor sometimes becomes a mentee, and vice versa. Having that opportunity to work with people virtually opens up so many doors where you can work from your underwear, basically, anywhere in the world.
We probably don't want to mention underwear and interns, but every once in a while we do. It's okay.
Especially on video. No.
I'm not mad at you, Robert, for doing that, actually. And I think we've got a nice slide up that kind of talks about those attributes, everybody, so that you can kind of understand, how great internships can be. But now I think we should talk about somebody else. You've got kind of a surprise guest, right, Robert?
Yes, I'd like to introduce you all to Roger Goodell, NFL commissioner, hater of the Patriots. At least that's what I think. Yeah. So And one of the things here, folks, is with Roger, you're going to hear a story from Super Julie in a little bit of him going through his own experience. So, again, feel free to continue to provide some comments in the chat area, and especially as Super Julie shares this story about Roger and his experience in trying to get his first job with the NFL.
Yeah, so Roger has an amazing story. He started off as an intern. And one of the things that he did is he wrote, this is back in the day when there were no computers, nobody had a PC. He hand wrote or typed out 28 letters to the different NFLs across the United States. And he never heard back from anybody. And so then he sent a letter to the New York home office and he said, hey, I want to be an intern. And they said, well, if you're ever in the neighborhood, stop by. So he got into his jalopy of a car. He drove across, I think he lived in either Pennsylvania or Ohio. I can't remember which, but he lived, a couple states away from New York. He drove to Manhattan. He went into the office. He probably smelled like, jalopy, like he was riding in that car with French fries. Mm-hmm. And he walked in and he said, hi, I'm Roger Goodell, and I was just in the neighborhood. Well, he met his boss, his future boss, and he got hired as an intern. And that internship turned into a PR job that turned into a sales job. And today, Roger is, as Robert had said, the commissioner of the NFL. Now, I'll bet that Roger had an amazing elevator pitch. What do you think? Do you think he probably did?
He still does. Very compelling, when you see him. And speaking of elevator pitches, this isn't the only time you get to see us this week. If you need an elevator pitch, you probably want to join our show tomorrow on our next broadcast.
Oh, yeah. Great idea. So everybody, if you have any questions, go to the questions down below. Vote for your favorite because we're going to be taking like the first top 1 or 2 questions that get the highest votes. So we'll be doing that at the end. And Robert, can you share with everybody where to see the schedule for the other shows in our series this week?
Sure. And to see the broadcast schedule from your desktop, just click on the word more at the top left of your screen. And then there's a drop-down list, and you can choose which of these live broadcasts you want to join us on. We'll be here Monday through Friday this week. And, leveraging your internship experience is so important. And what we're hoping to provide you over the next 5 days is some really great content to help you find and make that internship a tremendous lifelong experience that you can take with you.
Yeah, and we talk about interviewing, to how to interview, the mistakes that people make. We talk about LinkedIn profiles. All that stuff is up above under that more. Just hit that drop down and you'll be able to see the schedule. So one of the things that I hear a lot about, Robert, people will say, well, why should I do an unpaid internship? I think that was one of the questions we actually got from one of our audience members. And I think it's a great question. If you can't get a job and you're spending all this time in interviews and people are like, you don't have enough experience, get an internship, even if it's unpaid. Sometimes the unpaid internships are actually better than the paid ones because the paid ones are usually task oriented. That means that you'll be doing, not all of them, but many of the paid ones means that you'll be doing habitual tasks like sending out emails or making phone calls. When you find an internship that has all of the things, all of the skills and the projects and the creativity that you've been learning in school, that is the ideal internship. And sometimes they're unpaid. So I say take an internship at any cost. What would you say, Robert?
Yeah. A quick example, of an unpaid internship. I remember working with a young lady named Kelly, and it was an unstructured internship at first. She wanted to do some graphic design, but she told me flat out, the number one thing I want to walk away with, Robert, is poise. My boyfriend tells me I need to speak clearer and be more comfortable with public speaking. My mom says I'm too timid. And what happened at the end? She's She's 2 internships later. She's now working for Major League Baseball, doing graphic design, and that all came from those intangibles that you might not get in one of those task-oriented roles that SJ mentioned.
I'm so grateful that you mentioned that, because I don't normally go there and think about those things, but that is pretty amazing. It's those things that maybe you didn't learn in school that you would only learn in a business environment.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take another look at how people can find the time, because that's the other question that I get all the time is, well, I've got a kid, I've got a boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, I have, a social life, I have all these things. How am I going to find the time? So we took a look to find out how many hours people spend doing other stuff. And it's a lot of hours. And, I can be guilty of it too, actually, because I love to play web Sudoku in my free time. I also love chess. So, if I didn't do some of those things, I could probably do an internship, and I'm thinking about doing one myself for maybe law. I don't know. I'm suddenly very interested in law these days. But really, a good internship, it will only take you about 10 hours a week. And when you do it virtually, you don't even have to get out of your slippers, right? So your commute can be from your bed to your desk. It could be like 5 steps. Robert, for you, what do you think about that 10 hours, finding the 10 hours?
Oh, everybody! I'm a time billionaire. I'm not a financial billionaire, but so it's I'm able to afford watching endless hours of WWE and General Hospital, but it's because I can time block, and it's been preempted this week by the news. So, but I think that's one of the key things is we all probably have that 10 hours. Cut back a little bit on the television. Whether you use a fancy calendar or not, it's just time blocking it and encouraging interns, especially on the virtual level. You find that you block things into 15, 25, 50-minute slots. And the next thing you know, wow, I've got 10 hours that I can dedicate to my future. And so it can be done.
It is the thing that actually will pay you back tenfold. So if you're thinking about volunteering, instead of volunteering, the volunteering can be the internship. Mm-hmm. Get some internships under your belt. I'd love for you to talk a little bit, Robert, about how some people can't seem to leverage their internship.
I think a lot of it goes back to really framing yourself well when it comes to having your description of what you do, especially before you finish the internship. I recommend to my interns, within a couple weeks, once you're not going to get let go, once you get through that probationary period, is really where you want to update your resume, update your LinkedIn, so immediately you can start leveraging that into your next opportunity. I see it so many times, SJ, where maybe somebody will come in, second semester, junior or senior year, they're getting close to that job search, and they aren't already talking about what they've done as if they've done it already. I like to call it the resume from the future. You may not have completed everything within that internship, but you've got to talk about it, you got to live it, you got to breathe it, and network during that whole time.
I'm going to kind of skip over Stephanie. We've got an image of Stephanie in her LinkedIn profile, but I'm really curious about checking in on the poll. I think we should do that really fast. So our question was, an amazing internship for me would include, and the winner looks like connections with professionals who will help me land my first job. I love that answer. I'm also curious if we have any questions, because people are typing in lots of fun stuff. And thank you, Tara, for mentioning that you've had an awesome internship. The experience is fantastic. That's wonderful. Love that. So let's check in with one of the questions. And it looks like the number one question that won so far here is Peyton. She asked, does it look better to have a multiple of the same type of information internships or multiple internships that are in the same field? So what would be your answer to that, Robert?
For me, I think if the responsibilities show progression or variety, go for it. I've seen people that do an internship in the same type of marketing field, but each one showed some different demonstrated accomplishments. So even though they might have two or three with the same title, there was at least some variation in terms of scope or scale or even industry.
Yeah, great answer. Everyone, we're going to get back to all the other questions that you've posted there. We'll come back and we'll answer them after the show. Robert, can you tell everybody a little bit about where we want everyone to go? Because this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, really, there's a real gap for people between their education and their career, and that's really where the internships or apprenticeships come in. It's really that bridge between your college and your career, and I saw it with some of my peers. I wasn't, although I consider myself to be somewhat intelligent, I wasn't very intelligent with grades in college. And so the Michelles and the Larrys of the world were all bent out of shape when I would get the great job at the end of college, which was Disney, and they didn't. And the differentiator was I worked, I did internships, and that was the bridge. That was the differentiator between my 3.1 and their 4.0. They had a 4.0 with no work experience. I had 3 internships and Disney on my resume, and there I go.
Awesome. Everybody, you're going to want to come to our free webinar, by the way, on how to stop filling out online applications and still get the job. Go ahead and click on the green button. It's somewhere, I don't know, is it up above, green button, down below? I don't know. It's a green button. Click on the green button and join our webinar. You can do it right now, or you can come back later. And that would be awesome. Robert, thank you so much for today. I really appreciate you. Do you have any last parting words?
Join us tomorrow. We'd love to see you again to share some more insights and keep you in that mindset. This is a great time of year to think about an internship, and we look forward to continuing that journey with you.
Yes, absolutely. Have a super day, everybody.